Hey viewers, and welcome back to Exhaust Notes Australia. My name's Dan, and a little while ago I had the privilege of reviewing the Subaru Solterra Touring all-wheel drive, one of the two cars developed by Toyota and Subaru in their first ground-up EV. Well, today I have the other car in that pairing, the Toyota bZ4X all-wheel drive. And in this review, I'll go through what I like about it and some of the differences and similarities between the two cars. Up front here, the bZ4X distinguishes itself a bit from the Subaru with this more plain front end. The Subaru has this black hexagonal shape, which kind of represents a grille or something on it, whilst I find the bZ4X looks just a little bit more aggressive with how they've styled it. There are some styling differences around here as well. We do have open vents through the side, just like the Solterra did, and the Solterra had some driving lamps installed in the bottom bumper too. Up here, Toyota have distinguished their headlights with some eyelids to sort of emulate that C-shape headlight that they're now incorporating across their range. You might have seen it in things like the Camry, the Corolla, and the CHR. So on a styling front, I think the bZ4X might just nudge ahead of the Subaru. The bZ4X also comes with these BEV badges, which is for battery electric vehicle, or maybe her name's Beverly. Inside profile, the cars are almost identical. Both still have the black plastic cladding over the wheel arches. Again, with the dynamic blue here, they kind of blend in a little bit more, so they're not so noticeable. The Solterra, they definitely stood out. Our car is also optioned up with the black painted roof. With the bZ4X, you can get that on any color, except black, because it's already black. And it's an $815 option. The Solterra was a $1,200 option and only available on two colors. At the back, both cars look, again, quite similar. The only difference being how they've treated their tail lights. We still have this interesting plastic design that comes around the rear arch. Still have a lot of plastic in the rear bumper, and the dual twin spoiler kind of look over the rear hatch. Both of the cars have that sleek fastback look to them, which kind of works, kind of looks nice. Large boot space, electric operated boot of course, and similar wheel designs, both wearing 20-inch wheels all round. One of the handy features that manufacturers are putting into their boot lids these days are these two buttons where you can close the boot, or the other one allows you to close the boot and lock the car. It's super handy when you've got a lot of shopping and you just want to do it all in one motion without having to go to the front doors and tap the door handle or reach for the key fob. What I found though is that this car doesn't always want to do that. It'll close the boot, no problem, but sometimes I've hit the lock button and it just hasn't wanted to do it. So it's super convenient when it works, but it's damn embarrassing when it doesn't. Super convenient this time around. Inside the bZ4X is really quite nice. I really like we have the option between grey and black Softex or fake leather materials. In the Solterra you only got black. So whilst they call this grey, it seems a bit more of a cream colour, but it just lifts the interior that bit. It doesn't look so plain, doesn't look so boring. We have two memory functions here for the driver's seat, and there's a lot of buttons, I won't deny that. We have the Peugeot inspired cockpit display and a round steering wheel. The Solterra, you had a square steering wheel there. And here we have an eyesight monitor. Now, it's not the most annoying thing about the car, but it has alerted me a few times that my eyes are closed and it just doesn't like being blocked. So it will alert you for things like that, but not the most annoying thing. A better implementation than some manufacturers. But there is a lot of room in here. The seat is back at the moment, but as soon as I turn the car on, it should, it'll bring me into place. A lot of electric adjustability, of course, as you'd expect. Seats are comfortable enough, and of course they are heated and ventilated for that extra comfort as well. And it's very variable Sydney weather we've had lately. Much like the Solterra, there's plenty of space in the second row as well. Being a ground up EV build, there's no transmission tunnel to worry about, so you can properly fit 3 people across the rear seat. Sitting behind my own driving position, I have plenty of room here. My legs are a little elevated, and I noticed this in the Solterra as well, but it's not too bad. There is a way to sort of bring the seat back up a bit, so a little bit more upright. We have seat pockets, 2 USB-C points, and air conditioning vents that can be directed. Plenty of headroom with the panoramic glass open. It lets a lot more light in as well. So where I've noticed the bZ4X shines is that it is really, really smooth to drive. It soaks up the bumps pretty well. Even speed humps in car parks and things like that, I've noticed it's pretty compliant over those, and I don't know if that's just the suspension tune and the weight of the car. Surprisingly, it comes in about 10 kilos lighter than the Solterra, but it's still over 2 tons. We're at 2055 kilos tare weight in this, and that's just the weight that EVs are these days. So while the bZ4X does have parking assistant, it doesn't do it when it comes to reverse parallel parks, and I'll demonstrate it here. Press the park assistant button, and yeah, it has not found, it hasn't been able to figure out a spot to park us into. Yeah, it's having a thing there saying that there's a narrow parking space and that it can't do it. I'll show you how it works a little later. If you've seen the Solterra video, you'll know already, but just something to be aware of. It's just not like other systems I've tried where it can do that. But everything's smooth, there's nothing coarse, even compared to the RAV4. It's just really quite pleasant to drive in here. Doesn't feel like the car's struggling or overworking itself to get up and going. We do have the added bonus of the all-wheel drive, so get up and goes of just under 7 seconds. So for the smart parking assist, you actually need to be in a proper car park with spaces laid out. If we try now, you can see here it's identified a number of parking spaces that are available, and you can select any of those. And then you can hit start, release the brake, and the car will do the rest for you. Now, I have had this actually fail on me where in an undercover car park, it decided that the spot was too narrow and it backed out of it. So do beware, it's not going to get you out of trouble all the time. And really, this is purely a novelty, I think. If you can't reverse park your car, yes, I'll say no more there. But it's put us in the spot, it's kept the wheels straight, and it's going to show off its handiwork there, just like the Solterra did. Wheels straight, unlike the Solterra did when I tested that one, but we are in the spot. As I said, I think it's a bit of a novelty because it can't handle narrow spots and it does get a bit buggy, so take that as you see. The Solterra benefits from a couple of extra drive modes, whereas the bZ4X only has Eco and Normal, but we can still get up and running fairly well. Inside here, the front seats benefit from cooling and heating. The rear seats miss out, whereas in the Solterra, the outer rear seats could also be heated. There's 410 litres of available boot space, which is decent. It's kind of on par with other EVs, but it is quite down on the equivalent, the RAV4 having 580 litres. So there is a lot to be considered there when going for one of these, of course. Much of the center stack is directly copied from the Solterra. We have the same lid to open for the wireless charging. We have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. We've had no problem with that. We've got under console storage here as well. The difference I've found is that the bZ4X has a round steering wheel and it comes up just that bit higher into your instrument panel. Now, there is nothing that it's blocking, but it is there, whereas the Solterra had a flat top or like a square shaped steering wheel instead, so that wasn't really an issue. They've gone for the material finish again. It's a bit of an interesting design choice, and here we have this Peugeot inspired cockpit. Very cheap plastic feeling, but you're not really going to be touching that. It's just how it looks, I suppose. It's not a bad look. I just think Peugeot executed a lot better. You know, that is their thing. I do like that in this interior we have the grey Softex premium. It's a fake leather, but Toyota call it grey. It's a bit more of a cream beige. Now, of course, if you've got kids and that and it's all hard wearing, then you're probably going to want something that's not light coloured, but I do like how it breaks up the interior here. I do like that Toyota offers it as an option. It wasn't an option in the Solterra. That was the black only, and it just felt really plain and dull and a bit boring in here. So it's really lifted the cabin, I think. We have the massive sunshade that can open. It doesn't open like a sunroof, but it does let a lot of light in. It opens the full length of the roof there, so very nice. It's just comfortable in here. Seats are very adjustable, lots of room, front and rear. So yeah, there's not much to really complain about. All the warranties are there. There's 5 years cap price servicing through Toyota and their massive dealer network. Batteries covered for 8 years, and the warranty is for 5 years, unlimited kilometers. The servicing for the first 5 years is $180 per visit. It then jumps up and jumps around quite a bit from the 6th year onwards, should you still own it at that point. The point of difference there is that Subaru are doing free servicing included with the Solterra, which is a nice little incentive for the slight premium that you pay for the Solterra as well. Even the Toyota system here is quite nice. I do like how easy it is to get through. They keep the options very simple, and of course the nav is pretty decent here. So while most people will use their preferred phone app for navigation, I thought I'd try the native maps and just see how they work. They actually work pretty well, but it's funny that they use a computer generated voice with a bit of an Australian twang to it. So I thought I'd play some of that back for you.
In 700 meters, left turn. In 200 meters, right turn onto Chifley Glad.
Look, I guess most owners aren't even going to realize that this is a thing, but there it is.
U-turn at the roundabout. Take third exit.
Once you hook up your phone though, you'll be probably using your own navigation system, Google Maps, Waze, whatever your preference is. The screen is lovely. It's quite large, quite wide. It does dip towards the passenger just ever so slightly, but it's not encroaching on their leg room or anything like that. Got plenty of USB connectivity with an A and C port up front. I think there are 5 ports throughout the whole interior, so that's one for everybody, though I do think it's 3 in the front and 2 in the rear. Air conditioning's been pretty good. We've had some warm days here, and it's just been handling that quite well. In fact, maybe a little too well. We've actually been getting quite cold on the warm days, so it's very, very capable. Look, as I said, it's just quite a nice car to sit in and drive. Have a good view over everything, and I don't feel like, I'm not sure where the front is compared to some other SUVs as well. But to help out with all that, you can just activate the camera view at any point, and it will give you the guides and things, so you can change the view if you wish, just to help you out with the cornering. It gives you proximity to other vehicles or other objects that it detects. I have a 71.4 kilowatt hour battery in both the bZ4X and the Solterra. We get 160 kilowatts and 337 newton meters of torque, with comparable numbers to the RAV4 actually, with 160 kilowatts there, but way more torque of course. Toyota advertised you can get to 80% in about half an hour and 45 minutes of charging, and I've seen that. It's charged up fairly well on a 150 kilowatt fast charger. Has been no problems there. The only issue I think that people may come across is that the charging port being on the front passenger side. I was at a charging station and the cable just barely stretched enough to be able to reach the car, and this was with the car as far forward as I could get it into the space. So just to be aware of things like that. I think that's going to be charger dependent rather than the car's fault, because I think I'd rather the charging port be on the side of the car than on the front. Now, what effect will it have if you have a collision on the front to the charging capabilities? So as mentioned, the Solterra had about 4 or 5 levels of brake regeneration that you could adjust and set to. They had paddles behind the steering wheel to do that. With the bZ4X, we just have a button which activates a regeneration mode, but it's not a one pedal driving mode. You will feel the car begin to slow, but yeah, you'll need to brake to get it to fully stop. Solterra was the same. In this car, we don't have the same amount of brake regen settings as to go with that. And so also we don't have the power drive mode. So with this car, it's just a matter of making sure that you're not in eco mode and putting your foot on the pedal to get the most out of its acceleration. We're about to enter a motorway with a 100 zone, so we'll see how she goes there. It does have enough pickup. You've got the air conditioning going, things like that, so we're probably zapping a little more out of the battery. Man, and that is just silent. You can hear a little bit of whirring in the background, but absolutely no noise at all to get that to 100. 2 tons of SUV, not a problem. I mean, ultimately, that's what's impressive about these SUVs, is just the instant push that the batteries can give you. You have blind spot monitoring and things, all the safety side of things, 7 airbags, lane keep assist, radar cruise control. So it's all very good. It does have speed sign recognition, but it doesn't annoy you about that. Being an all-wheel drive, of course, we have 2 motors, 1 on each axle, providing 80 kilowatts each. Toyota do provide a WLTP range estimate of 411 kilometers, and when I've charged it up, we've been in the high 300s, so not too far off that claim, I'm guessing. Obviously, we've been using the aircon a bit, so the battery's probably depleting a little quicker than we'd normally see. Results may vary, of course. So the Solterra had a digital rearview mirror. This does not have that. Those are quite handy when you've got people in the back who might be obstructing your view. Yeah, this is just a very standard rearview mirror here. So with that boot space, there's no frunk, but the more I think about it, are people using their frunks for anything other than storing the cables? Maybe. There are 3 tether points in the rear seat, and the 2 outer seats have ISOFIX connectors as well. Of course, there is also the My Toyota Connect app, which you can use once you sign in and hook that up to the car. You can lock and unlock the doors. You can do other little convenience things, which is quite handy. Servicing intervals are 12 months or every 15,000 kilometers. You have 10-year battery cover as long as you perform your annual inspections on time. You can get 2 extra years of engine protection if you do that. So it's 5 years normally, it goes up to 7. They also guarantee your battery retention to no less than 70% of original capacity in its first 160,000 kilometers or 8 years. The other difference between this and the Solterra is that we have a 9-speaker JBL system here, subwoofer in the boot. The Solterra instead comes with a Harman Kardon 10 speaker system. Look, to be honest, they're both pretty good systems. I couldn't tell you what the extra speaker in the Solterra does, but both of them are fairly good. So those are my thoughts on the Toyota bZ4X, a name that admittedly doesn't roll off the tongue, especially compared to its twin, the Subaru Solterra. But what do you think? As said, I think it is quite a nice looking car, and given some of the differences between the two, that might sway you in either direction. You can get into a two-wheel drive version of this from about 71,000, whilst the all-wheel drive we have here is about 80. The Subaru Touring, at least, starts at 83. But you do get free servicing there, the extra brake regeneration levels, and some alternative drive modes. For the Toyota, we have the different kind of styling, some cheaper options, the ability to have a different colored interior. There's also a lot more Toyota service centers around should you need to visit one. So, what do you think? Have Toyota and Subaru done enough to sway you to think about one of their EVs? Or would you go for another brand entirely? Or maybe you'd stay with the tried and true. A Toyota RAV4 fully spec'd is about $20,000 cheaper and has a lot more practicality with like larger boots and things like that. So, sound off in the comments below. What are your thoughts on it all? And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I do hope the review was interesting and informative for you, but I look forward to seeing you in the next one as well. Stay safe.